everyone. I'm Nick, and I'm here at GCP with Trevor. Welcome to the first episode of the Process of Fat Loss podcast. Today, we're going to kind of give you a background for why we started this podcast and then talk about a little bit of one of the basic concepts of fat loss. So the reason that we really started this podcast was to kind of give people a little bit more of education about why fat loss is important and kind of the process that we go through to reach that. So that's a goal that a lot of our clients have. So we're kind of just educating and giving a little more insight into how that process works and some different steps along the way, kind of how we can apply those things to our life a little bit better and make it into a process, something that can be achievable, because we believe fat loss isn't something that happens overnight. It takes time. It's really a process, like we said. So it takes time. There are steps that you can do to take it and make it a little bit easier, but it is something that can't be done overnight. And like I said, it's a process. It takes time to get through those things. So today we're going to talk about, our first topic is going to be the 5 pillars of fat loss. So kind of the basic stuff. So Trevor, when we start with fat loss, when we kind of look at a starting point, where should we kick off? Like, what is the first things that we should look at when we're starting that fat loss process?
Yeah, first of all, we believe that fat loss is individual to each person, right? But there's still a process to achieve this. Meaning, like, there's still step by step. Each person fits inside the spectrum, but there's step by step. Like, these components have to be taken care of, and so that's why we created our like foundation, or our house of fat loss. So the bottom's like the foundation of the fat loss, and we'll go through that more in depth some other day. And then on top of there's our pillars, right? Things that are standing up. They're the most common things that people can affect every single day. And then on top of that's where the results sit, right? So when we have our foundation, we have our pillars holding the thing up. Then our house or our roof is at the top, right? So that's what we're kind of doing. And so today we're going to talk about those 5 pillars. And the 5 pillars are exercise, nutrition,
So could
lifestyle,
you go a little bit
stress
in depth
management,
into a little more in those pillars, and then kind of how we can apply them or how implement them, I guess, in our lives?
Yeah. So the first thing we think about when we think of fat loss is we think of a pyramid. A pyramid, an iceberg. So in our gym, we have this big iceberg. And on top of the iceberg, the part above the water is exercise. Because a lot of people think that's the way to get fat loss. I just need to exercise more. But everybody knows the concept, you can't out-exercise a bad diet. Well, there's those 4 other things underneath the water that are really important. Nutrition, sleep, lifestyle, and stress management. They actually make up a bigger portion of the chain. So if we're looking at a house, right, we do need all 5 pillars to be strong to make sure that we can actually achieve like a consistent fat loss across the board, that a long sustainable thing that we'll have forever. One little parts can be down or up depending, but we want to try to keep it as even as possible. So that's why we want to make sure we talk more about, even though exercise is really important, we have all 5 that are important. So let's go ahead and start off with the exercise component, because I think it's the easiest for people to understand. So in our system, we believe exercise needs to be 3 strength training sessions a week, and that's some type of resistance training, dumbbells, kettlebells, barbells, whatever it looks like. We have to build some muscle mass to be able to get more calorie burn over time. We recommend we really recommend 7 days of movement, so we recommend another 4 days of movement. And movement can be lots of different things. It can be swimming, it can be biking, jogging, going out for long 30-minute walks, good intense 30-minute walks, playing with your kids, but actively playing with your kids, right? So it's more like that idea of like we need to get out and daily move and get our heart rate going. And then 30 minutes doesn't always have to be consecutive either, meaning you can do them in smaller chunks. You can do 3 10-minute walks a day after each meal is another way to be able to do that. But there's a lot of strategies. So exercise, one of those components. 7 days a week, it needs to be done. However, it needs to be done in different components. One is like an intense workout, which is more that strength training component, and more of an active recovery, kind of walking, jogging, running. And then from there, we go into the nutrition category. Nutrition is like, we'll probably have 50 or more podcasts just about nutrition. So I'm not going to go too in depth about that. But the idea here is eat real foods, mostly plants, not too much, right? So we're trying to build out that philosophy of we're eating good quality food. We're concentrating on making sure that we put that a certain amount of food in our body. We aren't strictly on macros. We're not strictly on any of those keto diets or any other specific diets. We believe in an all-encompassing diet that really fits the individual person. We also individualize that to the person. So maybe keto works great for one person, and a higher carbohydrate works for another person that runs. So that's very individualized to the individual. So we'll figure that out in their path. And then from there, we go on to sleep. Sleep is really underrated. It's actually said that if you have under 4 hours of sleep a day, that you'll actually be like a zombie. And the thing that actually comes back is we have low insulin sensitivity if we have too little of a sleep, which means that we actually can't break down fat. We don't have the insulin to actually help us do that. So we have to make sure we're paying attention to sleep. And sleep comes down to starting out with trying to get more quality sleep, meaning we're starting off with the concept that we're trying to make, if you're only getting 4 hours, great. Let's get the best 4 hours we possibly can. So we want to first increase that sleep, and then down the road we want to increase the quantity of sleep. So let's go from 4 to 5 hours to 6 hours to 7 hours. Maybe luckily someday get to 8 hours, which is like that perfect spot is 8 hours, but somewhere between the 7 to 8 hour window is what we're trying to get people to do. And we're going to help them build a routine to improve those things, as well as maybe some supplements and stuff that can help them increase their sleep quality. Then we go into the kind of the two unknowns, the stress management and lifestyle management. So we'll start off with the stress management. I think this is like a humongous topic that's coming more and more down the road, especially with post-COVID kind of stuff, some PSTD issues coming from that. So the idea here with this is let's control the controllables, which means that every single day we have tons of things going on. Maybe 50%, 60% of them are uncontrollable, but there's still a 40 to 50% that is under your control. Like showing up for your workouts, making sure that you're getting your right food in play, making sure that you have your business schedule set up for the week, right? So there's lots of things you can do that are your controllable, but you can't control what somebody else does. So if like somebody's driving a car and they're like honking at you, whatever, and that irritates you, you can't control that. So we shouldn't stress about that. We can't control if our boss calls a last minute meeting, right? We can't control those things. So we have to let those go out of our control and set up the rest of the parts of our life we can control to be 100% in control of those and take extreme ownership of that. So lifestyle first component of, stress management, the first part that comes with stress management comes down to the mindset, right? We have to get people to change the way they think about their control levels and create that, get rid of that victim mentality and start taking extreme ownership in our lives, because any person can change. To be honest, nobody's a special little snowflake. Like there's not a single person that can't make change. It's just what are they willing to do and sacrifice to actually make that change. Everybody has a different buy-in level that is, but that's how your change happens and how extreme your change can be. So we really work down that stress management. What are the controllable things? And the last component is lifestyle. So lifestyle is probably one of the last things we attack, but it's really important. So it can be, let's say you have a social group of people that you always go out to drink with. It could be that happening every week, and that could throw off your whole weekend. So maybe instead of that going out with that group, maybe you and that group go out and go bowling instead, and you don't drink, or you do something different that's active. You don't have to get rid of those friends, but maybe you just need to change the environment you spend time with those friends in that negatively impacts your nutrition and health goals. It could be setting up the environment around the house, right? So it could be we don't watch TV at night. We do our stretching instead. We go for a family walk after dinner instead of sitting down to watch TV. It could be like laying out your clothes for the week to make sure that I know the right stuff. It could be going in my schedule and scheduling out, like the fact that I have workouts coming ahead and I want to make sure those workouts are planned out for my week. That can go both in the stress management and in the lifestyle category. Lifestyle and stress management do overlap a little bit, but it's setting up the right environment for you to be successful. So when you put all 5 of those pillars together and you put them and you work on each one a little bit at a time and you work towards an end goal, which is fat loss, right? We're creating that lifestyle that you want to live. So when we get to that like lifestyle change, you put all 5 pillars together and all of them have an important component. And that's why we start off with talking about the 5 pillars, because the 5 pillars are the most controllable things we can do, and we can slowly implement habits to improve those.
All right. Yeah. So like you said, I know that it's a process and it takes time, but like you said, like focusing on the things that are easiest to control and the easiest things that we can address first is really important in kind of making it a process. Because like I said, it is a process. It takes time. Not something that happens overnight. So, but implementing those things on a daily basis and kind of working on them over time creates that kind of lifestyle, like you were saying, that allows us to be able to have fat loss. So kind of working through those things, making it into a process, and then kind of addressing those things like that. So thanks for talking a little bit more about those. In the future weeks, we will be going a little bit deeper into each of those. So we'll talk a little bit more about all 5 of the pillars a little bit more in depth. Kind of a little bit more how we can apply them, a little bit different ways and why they're important to add into our life. So thank you everyone for listening to the first episode here. We enjoyed having you guys, and we hope to have you next week for episode 2.
All right, guys, make sure that if you need to take action on any of this, reach out to us and we'll help you be as actionable as possible. Have a great day.